Hello, Aquano here, and we're finally back for another Trails in the Sky first chapter guide. And this time we're tackling a subject I wanted to talk about for a while. I've been preparing this video for a while now because it does take a lot of knowledge and a lot of meta comprehension. I need to really understand what the characters do, what value they bring to the table, and most importantly, compare them to one another. Because that is one very important thing that people tend to forget when it comes to tier lists. I have a lot of experience when making tier lists on this channel. I've done it for other games, and the one thing I always see every time on every video, oh no, this character is very, very good. Why is he in B tier? It doesn't matter if the character is very good. The character might be individually very good, and that's why he's in B tier, not D. The problem is I have to compare him. If there is better than him in the same exact role, I can't put him in S tier. That's just not how it works. So keep in mind that a tier list is a comparison. You cannot rate something if you don't compare it to other products in the market. And that's what tier lists are. Character tier lists. You need to compare every character to every other character in the game. And in this game, there are 8 of them. 2 of them are mandatory. I'm gonna try to not take that into account too much, but it will play a little role. That I'm going to keep that for the video where I'm going to be talking about team composition for the final dungeon. But for now, we're mostly going to be talking about these characters individually, how good they are. And I will be using a couple criteria that I will discuss with you guys right away. So first of all, we're looking at these characters for their peak potential. I'm not going to be talking about individual chapters, about the early chapters, because in those chapters you can really choose which characters you play, first of all, and second of all, these characters haven't unlocked their full potential yet when playing in chapter 1, 2, 3. So we'll be looking at endgame builds, and there's going to be 4 things I'm going to look at to judge a character. First of all, their crafts and S-crafts. What do their crafts do in general? How good they are? How much value do they bring to the team? Second of all, their tactical orbment. Every single character has a tactical orbment. That's their orbment where they put their cards in. You know, they have lines and stuff. Everyone has 6 slots. This orbment will change depending on the character. Some characters have more lines than others, and some characters have elemental slots. So there are slots that have elemental restrictions. So I will be taking that into account. Third of all, I'm going to be looking at the role. How is the character supposed to be played? Is that role good? How well do they do their job as that role? And how much competition do they have in that role? My 4th and last criteria is going to be their stats. So characters have different base stats. Trails like to do lower accuracy base stats. For example, Tita has very low base stats because she is very young and, a frail girl. That's just an example, but I will be looking at stats. But the things I just said, it was kind of in order. I am not going to be looking at stats that much. Mostly the 3 other things, because stats, they change barely, and you can remedy that with some other stuff. Also, if you want to use the tier list template that I made for this video, feel free to join my Discord, link in the description. I will be sharing the link to use the template in my Discord, and you can use my Discord to share it and discuss about it with other Trails players. So without further ado, let's get right into it, and be careful. This is an obvious spoiler warning. If you don't want to get spoiled which characters are playable in this game, then just, make sure you reach chapter 3. Make sure you reach chapter 3 and then come back to this video. Also, I wanted to talk about the support abilities level 7. I am not going to be talking about them in this video for 2 reasons. So when I finished the game, this is the save I reloaded. There are a couple characters that I didn't have level 7 on, and honestly, you only get to unlock the level 7 at the end of the game. And honestly, if you skip a couple battles, because I'm someone who likes to rush the game, I don't like to kill a couple shitty mobs over and over again. There is a chance you get to the final boss without this. There is a chance. So I'm not gonna be taking that into consideration, because for 99% of the game, you don't have it. So yeah, but keep in mind that you will unlock a 7th support skill, which is very good. So I will be going in the order you meet these characters, starting with Estelle. So let's jump in the game real quick and let's look at what Estelle brings to the table. Estelle, first of all, is one of the 3 hybrid characters, which means she doesn't have 1 line, she doesn't have 3 lines, but 2 lines. The characters with 2 lines are kind of a mix between a magical attacker and a physical attacker. She can play her however you want. A caster, a physical attacker, a tank. She can do pretty much everything. Now, her best role is as kind of like a tankier physical attacker because she has an S-craft with double S rating. And there are only 2 characters in the game who have an S-craft with double S rating, and she is one of them, which means she can unleash a very, very strong, S-craft to deal a bunch of physical damage. She also has a lot of supportive value in her S-crafts. First of all, her morale skill is insane because it gives CP regen. CP regen is one of the most valuable things in all of Trails. You know, you can ask any Trails veteran, in every single Trails game, you need to find a way to get as much CP as you want, because that's always the most efficient strategy, because you don't really run out of CP, you can regenerate it. So usually physical builds are better in Trails games. And morale is not only CP regen, but also gives defense and strength. Now, not everyone uses strength, but everyone will use defense, so no matter who you're playing, morale will be very good. Heartbreak has an A scaling, allows her to do some single target damage without relying on her S-craft, and has 30% heal, that's good. But the main reason why we really like this is because of heavy stun, which means it increases the stun gauge by a lot, and it lowers their speed, which is a very, very nice thing to lower. Lowering the enemy's speed and increasing your own speed means that you play multiple times in a row without the enemy even attacking once. Comet allows her to instantly cancel any enemy spell. So if you make your Estelle fast enough to the point where she can play very often, she can always cancel the enemy arts before they cast them. It's pretty broken. Hurricane is good AoE for early game, but you will never use Hurricane later. It has a very, very bad damage multiplier. So Estelle is a jack of all trades. She has very good crafts, and she is a hybrid character. With that in mind, I think she comes very close to being an S tier. But because she's kind of like a jack of all trades, and I don't think she can compete with the S-tier physical attackers, which we will talk about later, I do think she falls slightly short of being S-tier, and she will end up A in my tier list. Now, in the original games, she was a lot worse because morale did not give CP, and she kind of was like a jack of all trades who was good at nothing. At least in this game, she has a very clear role as like a physical DPS who can also support their team with multiple crafts. She's a very, very solid character, and anyways, you don't have any choice but to play her the whole game. Now let's talk about Joshua, our wonder boy Joshua. And Joshua is pretty much Estelle on crack and a lot more offensive, which is why I will have to put him automatically in S tier. It is not even a question. Some characters in the remake got buffed to rival him, but in this game and in the original game, he was king. First of all, you have no choice but to play him, and second of all, even if you did have a choice, I think you would play him. So let's talk about why he is very good. Now, one thing to note is that his S-craft is only S+. Now, only because of other things, he will be doing a lot of damage, but the good thing about Black Fang is that it has a range of all, which means no matter where the enemies are in the field, they will get hit. And just like Estelle, he has very, very useful crafts, but they are all pretty offensive. Dual Strike is good for impeding the enemy, and it has a solid, single target damage, but this Dual Strike will never be used after you get past, like, the mid-game. The reason why he's really good is because of these 3. Flicker, while not really good damage, it delays an entire line of enemy. Very, very good. And Evil Eye is kind of like the same thing, but better and in a different shape. There's gonna be some times where you want to use Flicker anyways, because you can hit more enemies in a long line, but Evil Eye will be the one you will be spamming in the late game. And because of Evil Eye, he is so freaking good. Delay M means it's like it's a better delay than this one. This is the S for small, I assume. Evil Eye is a larger delay. Delay means the enemies you hit will go lower down in the timeline. Now, some enemies will be kind of immune to it, which means they're not guaranteed to get delayed. They have some delay resistance. But in general, it is very, very good. Cloak and Dagger lowers both the defense and the ADF, which can allow your entire team to do a lot more damage. Heavy Stun, like we talked about earlier, is to increase the stun gauge. He has very, very insane ways to do damage. Now, Black Fang combined with this makes him a very, very, very solid choice for a physical DPS. And now, one thing we didn't talk about when we talked about Estelle is the support abilities. And I didn't really talk about them because Estelle doesn't have any support ability that is like really, really clutch, except Resurgence, but that only happens once and it's only 5% HP. This guy has one that I think is kind of game-changing, and that is the reason why he is so good. Well, one of the reasons why, and that is Lightning Speed. Lightning Speed would increase his speed by one thing, and it will give him 20 CP. This is very, very important for a physical attacker because it will allow him to more reliably spam his crafts. Protect is also very, very good to have because they will protect an ally while never dying while doing so. So it is very, very good. Safeguard is the same thing. You unlock it later, but you take even less damage, only 10% of the damage, which is very, very crazy. So the reason why Joshua is in S tier is because he can be played in different ways while also being extremely good at every single one. As a caster, he can be an extremely fast caster. As a physical DPS, he can be an extremely fast physical DPS. You can play him in any way. You can play him as an evasion tank. You can play him as like a complete bulkier physical DPS. An arts caster, it's literally the possibilities are endless. You can play him however you want, and he is basically guaranteed to perform in any role. So I think that's why he is our first candidate for the S tier and potentially the best character in the game. But we will see if he will be able to hold that position till the end of the video. The next one is a very, very tricky one. We're going to be talking about Scherazard. And Scherazard is kind of a one-trick pony. Scherazard is would be kind of a very mid character if it wasn't for one thing. There's one thing that Scherazard, that kind of saves Scherazard. But before we talk about that, let's talk about why Scherazard is kind of a mid character without that. First of all, Scherazard is a hybrid character, but because of her line, her line structure, she can't be as good of an art caster as Olivier and Kloe. Even though she has one of the highest ATS stat in the game, she cannot utilize it as well as these two. And, well, she does have a lot of physical crafts. Her physical stats is, first of all, not as good as the other physical attackers, but she also doesn't have that many crafts to back up her big damage. Let's take a look at them. So, like you see here, she has no A tier craft. She cannot do that much damage outside of her S craft, and even her S craft is S+. It is not double S. Now, S+ is good. Joshua has an S+ S craft, but the thing is, Joshua has a lot of really strong crafts to spam, like Evil Eye and Cloak and Dagger. She does not. So, as a physical damage dealer, she's kind of like, you don't really want to play her as a physical damage dealer. But then if you play her as a mage, as a caster, she's also not as good as the others. There's a couple things that save her, though. First of all, her Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune is very good because it upgrades every single stat. Why not? Every single stat. You know, for the other characters, they kind of like chose a stat. For her, they were kind of lazy. They didn't want to choose a stat. Hey, every stat, all goes. 15 CP, also pretty good. Now, first aid EX is crazy. Heals 25% for free, because why not? And that's pretty much it. But I haven't even talked about the reason why Scherazard kind of escapes the mid-character label. And that is because of her Heaven's Kiss. Now, Heaven's Kiss is an extremely, extremely good craft. Why? Because it has the quick effect. And for those who don't know what the quick effect does, it's basically the same thing as Clock Up EX. Clock Up EX gives us 50% speed, and quick. Quick means they act immediately. Heaven's Kiss is a large circle area craft, which means it hits a large area, and every single ally who gets hit by Heaven's Kiss acts immediately, which is insane. Now, there's a couple problems with this. First of all, it requires 90 CP. So it's kind of expensive. It is not as spammable as you think it might be. And also, this one does not affect her. So Tita has a S-craft that also gives CP, but it affects her. This one does not affect her. So it would only affect allies. It does not quick her, and it does not CP 15 her, which means it costs a raw 90. So yes, this allows her to escape the mid character label, because it's honestly one of the best crafts in the game. And if it was cheaper, and if she had like maybe a support like ability that allowed her to become like faster and spam this more often, she would be an S tier character. Now there's two reasons why I think she falls short of S tier, and I know this is probably gonna be my most contentious point in this video, because the other things I think people will agree with, but I think Scherazard is not S tier. I think Scherazard is better than Estelle because of her thing, but she is still A tier for two reasons. First of all, her S-craft is not as spammable, and second of all, outside of it, she doesn't do as much damage as the others. So I think if you compare her to other supports, well, if you compare her to the S tier support that I'm going to talk about later, she falls a bit short. And if you only talk about the S tier DPS that I'm going to talk about later, and Joshua, she also falls a bit short. And when you compare her to S tier, you know, also art caster, she also falls a little bit short compared to the other two magic casters. She does not have a support ability that allows her to recover EP, so that can be a problem when spamming you know, huge arts and a very long fight. So she's a character that's like kind of a one-trick pony. Like I said, she wants to be able to whip her allies to shape so that they can act immediately. And by the way, she is an amazing choice. If you want to bring her as your extra 2 party members, she will do amazing in the final dungeon. But I do think the other characters may be a little bit better. Again, I am open to counter arguments. It's just my opinion. So feel free to let me know in the comments if there is a reason why you think Scherazard will be S tier, but wait until the end of the video to see the bigger picture. It's time to talk about Olivier, and Olivier is a very simple character to talk about, and I think it might be our fastest category. So Olivier, to put it simply, is the best arts caster in the game for a couple reasons. First of all, he has one line. So, and compared to Kloe, who also has one line, he only has one elemental restriction, which means in terms of pure elemental freedom, in terms of pure elemental value, he is the best character because he has one line and only one restriction, which is EP3, and most of the time you kind of want EP3, either EP3 or EP cut, so this is just very good. The other thing is his not his crafts, because he's not really a physical attacker. Now, some of his crafts are pretty good. This has 50% EP mute. Happy trigger gives heals 25% immediately. Also very important, heals EP. He can convert his CP into EP for the entire team. Insane, which means you don't have to waste a turn using an item to heal EP. This also heals in percentage. So if you have a character who has very high EP because of items and shit, it will give them even more EP. So yes, the reason why he's good is not because of his craft's damage, but because he has a lot of utility. So first thing, his EP regen for the entire team with Happy Trigger. Second of all, let's talk about his support abilities. There are 3 of them that make him very good. Crafts boost and arts boost together is just insane. It allows all your other teammates to do more damage with arts. It allows them their heal and shield to be increased by 30% when they use arts and crafts, and it makes the buff duration last +1 turn. It's just insane. It's just by existing, he makes you a lot better. The other one is Magnificent Harmony, and this one is crazy because he just activates it every now and then, you know, for free, and it gives him 10% EP, and this also gives him EP regen for 3 turns, combined with Happy Trigger, the one, not Happy Trigger, the one, yeah, it is Happy Trigger, yeah, combined with Happy Trigger, it makes it so your team will never, well, him especially, will never run out of EP. It is absolutely amazing, and that is the problem Scherazard will run into if she is not coupled with Olivier. And the thing is, you cannot really play Scherazard with Olivier because there's one character who's kind of a must-play that we'll be talking about later. So this is why Olivier is a straight-up S tier. There's no argument about this. He is S tier for all the reasons I'm telling you. I would say maybe he's better than Joshua because he makes your team sustain a lot. Like I told you guys, he buffs crafts by a lot. Arts by a lot, so literally no matter what you do, he will boost it, and then he gives EP to the entire team while healing them instantly. Also, can be pretty good. He's basically the best caster, and arts also are very good in this game. So Olivier the GOAT, what can I say? It's time to talk about the big fish, man. Yes, the big fish is Kloe. Kloe, let's just put it, how do I put it simply? She's OP. Yeah, I'm just gonna cut to the chase. I don't want to make this video like 40 minutes long. She is OP for one reason. Literally, we don't have to talk about much else. Her Lichtkreis S-Craft. It revives your entire team, no matter where they are, because it has a targeting of everything. It heals all HP. When I say all, I mean all, 100%. It doesn't have a value of like raw value. It has a percentage value. It will heal 100% of HP, no matter how much HP you have, and it will even shield you. On top of that, it will give you a 1500 HP shield, because why not? It's like, bro, I don't know who thought about balancing when they made this S-Craft, but yeah, it is a bit broken. She also has a Weiss Aura that she unlocks in the game, which gives the entire team HP regen, Foresight, and removes every single debuff. She has this one, which has M delay. Very good. M delay. That's one of the reasons why Joshua was like very good with the evil eye. Like, bro, if she had Lichtkreis alone, she would already be S tier. But then she has LM delay with a 40% freeze on top, because why not? You know, the cherry on top. Then she has Weiss Aura, which gives free debuff removal with HP regen and Foresight. And then if we look at her things, she has Resurgence EX, which means once per battle, she will automatically revive an ally and give them 75 CP. That's a lot, because when people die, they are, well, the thing is, it's when they're about to fall, which means they're not actually falling, so they will actually keep their CP. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's very good. So Resurgence EX. Now, I'm not sure about this. I need to do more testing. Let me know in the comments if you actually know. I don't know if Resurgence EX stacks with Resurgence. So do they both proc once? Because this is once per battle, and this is once per battle. Are they? Because they are two separate skills. So I wonder if she can revive your allies twice per round. If that's the case, she's even more broken. But to be fair, she cannot even get more broken than this. She is an amazing character. Let's not forget that she has one line, and because of that, I created a category just for her, because she's kind of like irreplaceable, and she just makes your team broken. Like, if you're playing without Kloe, you're playing on hard mode. Let's be honest. Lichtkreis is just a reset button. Oh, my entire team is dead? Let me just revive them, heal them back to full HP, and give them a shield. Because why not? It's... You know, if you want to win in this game, do one thing. Make Kloe as tanky and as fast as possible. That's it. That's all you have to do. Mainly as tanky. Like, as fast, like, that's good, but, like, make her as tanky as possible. If she's the one who dies last, it's good. And you also need to make her immune to status ailments. Just make her immune to status ailments, make her tanky as fuck, and there it is, you beat the game. So yeah, without further ado, let's get to the next character. Now, it's time to talk about Agate, or Agate. I don't even know how you guys pronounce his name, but Agate is a very simple and straightforward character to build. He's basically the big strong guy, bonk with big sword. He is full damage. His whole purpose is to spam crafts, and you can see it here. There's one thing that kind of explains his character, and that I also don't like very much, is his overdrive. Now, all overdrives have the same base effect, but they have a unique effect that boosts certain stats. Now, I didn't talk about them so far because they weren't that game breaking. They all gave similar stuff, but his unique effect is very strange. Let me show you guys. So you see here, his Fierce Heavy Blade has the same base effect as everyone, but his unique effect is Strength plus 15%. So it only buffs one stat. The others, it buffs multiple stats, and a lot of them, it buffs speed. Like Olivier, speed plus 9%. Joshua, speed plus 10%. Very, very good. His strength is plus 15%, which is nice. I mean, it's like, you know, it's 5% more than Joshua. It's like 3% more than Zin, but the thing is that only buffs that. It buffs nothing else. So in terms of raw stats, you're getting way less than everyone else, and no speed boost is kind of bad when you compare him to Joshua. But one thing that makes him very good. Now, first of all, he has counter blow and safeguard. Safeguard is very good, kind of like for Joshua. Heat up is also very good. Now, heat up does... There's two things that kind of save him. First of all, Heat Up gives him CP regen and plus 20 CP, and then there's one S-Craft that really makes him good, is the Wild Rage. Wild Rage removes 20% HP to give him 60 CP. This is a big buff. In the original game, it used to take a lot more HP than that. I think it was 50% or 40%, something like that. Now, I think it might have given him more CP, but no matter what, minus 20% is nothing. It's not enough to make you in danger if you're keeping yourself healthy, and it gives you 60 CP. So let's say you are at 140. You can click this and then immediately proc your S-Craft, because S-Crafts do not need, like, you can use them anytime, right? So you can just, the combo of Wild Rage plus S-Craft is very strong, because you immediately use your S-Craft with 60 more CP. And this craft costs 0. Yes, it costs 0, which means you can use him at any time. It will cost just 20% HP. Use it and then spam your S-Craft. Now, his S-Craft does not do as much damage as Zin, and his speed buffs are not as good as Joshua, so he kind of falls in between. He is very close to becoming a top tier character, and he will be. In the second game, he will get a better S-Craft, but for now, I will be putting him in, I would say, just, to be fair, he's very close to be as good as Joshua, so I will be putting him at the top of A tier for now. Again, let me know in the comments what you think. Small reminder, this is about comparisons. I'm not saying Agate is bad, I'm just saying I personally think Joshua is better, and that he kind of does the same job as him, but slightly better. So yeah, that's why he is in A tier. Now it's time to talk about our cute little Tita. And Tita is the reason why we will be finally taking into account one thing that I haven't talked about too much yet, and that is the base stats. Base stats can be important. Every single character has a different growth rate for certain stats, and it seems like the growth stats are not much different from the original game. If you look at her growth in terms of stats, her defenses are way lower than everyone else. They're especially way lower than Zin and Agate, which are kind of her replacement and her competition. Because yes, they might be kind of similar to Estelle or Kloe, especially Kloe. But the thing is, Kloe and Tita do not do the same thing. Tita is a physical attacker. She's not an arts caster. She's a physical attacker who also kind of provides some support via her crafts. She is kind of like, well, the spot that she will take is the spot of either Agate or Zin, because most people will use Kloe as their first choice. Their second choice will be one of the other 4 characters. And unfortunately, well, one of the other 5, I guess. Unfortunately, Tita cannot really compete in terms of pure stats when it comes to Agate and Zin. Her HP and defense stats are way lower. Now, to be fair, her attack growth is quite similar, just a slightly bit higher than Zin, and I think around the same as Agate, or also a little bit lower, but not really distinguishable. But when it comes to pure stats, it is not that good. Her S-Craft is only S. It is not S+, it is not double S. So when it comes to pure damage, she won't do much. Now, she is pretty good at actually being a sub-DPS who can also support the team at the same time, because Smoke Cannon has a 50% chance to blind the enemy and burn them. Vital Cannon is very good, it automatically heals 30% HP without needing the time to cast, and it will give 30 CP to everyone. This is very crazy with the added bonus of removing debuffs. Jamming Ray, kind of the same thing as Estelle, impedes in a line, remove their buffs, and steal bonus. This is insanely good. It's basically comment on crack. Really like Jamming Ray. Now the thing is, this character is very squishy. But usually, characters that are very squishy kind of like do damage because they're squishy. But she's a support. Supports usually want to be tanky, like for example Estelle or Kloe. Well, Kloe is not that much tankier, but she's broken because of her S-craft. Estelle is tankier, and you can build her very tanky, and because she is in the team for so long, she will receive a lot of droplets. She, on the other hand, Tita is very squishy, but wants to do the job of someone who's the pillar of the team. Stays in the middle, gives them CP. And the other problem with a support like Tita is that supports usually also want to cast arts, and they want to cast crafts and a couple arts to also help their team with Earth Wall, Earth Guard, like Curia, stuff like that. The problem is her orbment setup, her tactical orbment, has 3 lines, which makes attaining some arts kind of hard. Now, compared to Agate, she does have a line with 4 quartz, which, yes, makes it possible for her to reach most of the things, but sometimes you will have to choose, because those are going to be multiple arts that require higher value, and the thing is, in that line of 4, 2 of those, well, you're kind of restricted in which quartz you can use. So, yeah, this is her problem, and honestly, if it wasn't for her craft that is, let's look at this. If it wasn't for her craft that is Vital Cannon and also her Resurgence EX, we already talked about that one. If it wasn't for that, I would have put in her lower, but this kind of saves her and puts her safely in the B tier. If you asked me who is the worst character in Shadows of the Sky, I would say Tita. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of angry Tita defenders in the chat, and yes, I know how broken Blind can be, even though it's 50%. I'm not a big fan of non-consistent abilities. So yes, that won't work on me, but I know how good she can be. The thing is, like I said at the beginning of the video, it is a comparison. A tier list is all about comparisons. I have to compare her and see how much value she brings to the table compared to the other options. And unfortunately, unless you really like Tita, her playstyle or as a character, she's pretty cute, you won't really have... There's no reason for you to play her other than, instead of other characters. So yes, Tita will stay comfortably in the P tier. I'm sorry if I yapped too much about her. I really want to explain why she is B. So without further ado, let's talk about our last character on this list. Zinvatek, the immovable Calvard Republic Bracer, who came here to attend the tournament and help us. This is the easiest S tier of my life for 2 reasons. First of all, he has an S-craft of double S modifier, which is the biggest alongside Estelle. Extremely crazy, has an extreme stun secondary effect with 60% steal bonus as like most S-craft. But the reason why is, the main reason, double S combined with one of the only things in the game that gives 50% strength. 50% strength is crazy. You combine that with Oral Blast, means that it officially makes Zin the hardest hitting character in the game. If you combine that with Composure, it allows him to revive a character using CP, which means you can use that infinitely. It also removes all their debuffs and heal them. So even if they're not dead, you can still use this to help them. Taunt makes him taunt the entire team. It's so good. Disable is an A+. You know how I said like the problem about Scherazard is that even though she's kind of supposed to be played mixed, she has no crafts to make use of her strength. Well, that's he has, for example, A, which is good. This guy has A+. So he has a very reliable way to do insane damage without relying on his S-craft. And whenever he has his S-craft up, he can do a shit ton of damage. His support ability is also very good. This one gives him strength and defense and ADF plus 12%, so his defenses are crazy. This is a very, very hard character to kill. He's the tankiest character in the game and also hits the hardest. I mean, like I said, I told you guys, Trails love doing lore accurate stats. He is the bracer with the most experience, one of the best bracers on the continent, and that's why he is that strong. craft boost will allow your Joshua to do more damage, so will your Estelle, and Resurgence EX is, as like I said earlier, broken. You combine that with all the other characters that have Resurgence, and you can have multiple free revives per fight. Very, very good. His immovable pranayama gives him 25 CP, which is very, very good, just like Agate and Joshua. So he's basically a Joshua who's slower, but also hits a lot harder. So he is an obvious S tier, but I'm kind of conflicted. I don't know where to put him on the S tier, and honestly, I don't know where to put Olivier either. Like I said, Olivier is better, but honestly, not really. He does a completely different job, so it's hard to compare them, right? So I would say Zin is a bit lower than Olivier, because Zin at this point does kind of have a conflict of role with Estelle and Joshua. Like I said, Estelle is the other character who has a double S craft, like Zin. So Zin kind of takes her role when he comes in the team. And if you play Zin and Joshua, or Zin and Estelle as physical damage, it doesn't matter who you play as physical damage dealer. Having Zin in your party forces you to play Joshua or Estelle as magic casters, and while doing so, that means you will have subpar magic casters because they are not as good as well, Joshua can be just as good as Olivier to cast art. The problem is, by using a magical caster Joshua, you're kind of wasting his potential as a physical damage dealer and evil eye spammer. So that's why I think Zin is maybe a bit like less good than Olivier, because he does have a conflict of roles when it comes to the team, because you are forced to play Estelle and Joshua. So yeah, because like I said, you are forced to choose Kloe, and then you have another character choice. I don't know which character is the best choice as your fourth party member. I will be probably making a video dedicated to that question alone, but that is something you need to consider when you're hesitating between Zin and Olivier. So yeah, again, don't pay too much attention to the order in individual tiers, but I do think that Kloe is a cut above the rest, and then these three are S tier. These three are very, very good characters, but maybe slightly a bit less good than these three. Again, these three characters, if you're playing Agate or Scherazard, very good, go ahead. I just think they're like maybe 1% not as good as these three, and Tita unfortunately falls a bit short behind everyone, but she's still a very strong and reliable choice. So that was it for the tier list. I hope you guys don't get too triggered by this. I know every time I make a tier list, there's always a couple people who get offended. I apologize in advance if I offended anyone. I try to be fair. Again, I'm human. Everyone makes mistakes. So if you think I made a very big mistake or misconception, misunderstood something, make sure to let me know in the comments. And make sure to subscribe and comment on the video if you enjoyed it. I will be making a bunch of other guides, so make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell to make sure you don't miss the next one. So, it was Aquano. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!